Number 2. Spiculus. It's 68 AD in Rome, and an angry mob is dragging a man through the streets. He's in his early 30s, powerfully built with the thick neck and scarred knuckles of a career fighter. This guy used to live in multiple palaces worth millions. He used to dine with emperors. Now he's about to be murdered in the most ironic way possible. His name is Spiculus, and just a few years earlier, he was living a life most Romans could only dream of. Spiculus was actually Emperor Nero's favorite gladiator and personal friend. And when I say favorite, I mean Nero was absolutely obsessed with this guy. He gave him palaces, plural, estates reserved for generals who had conquered entire nations. According to the historian Suetonius, Nero gave Spiculus estates worth 100 million sesterces, aka 400 million in today's money. Shocking, I know. These were rewards for people who expanded the Roman Empire, not for guys who stabbed other guys in an arena. It all started in 66 AD, when Spiculus was just a rookie. For his very first fight, they threw him against a champion named Aptonidas, who won 16 fights. The betting odds were so stacked against Spiculus that nobody in Rome thought he had a chance. You're probably thinking this is where the underdog gets destroyed, but nope. Witnesses later described the fight as one of the most shocking upsets in arena history. In the final moments, Spiculus's sword caught Aptonidas in the throat, severing his carotid artery. Blood sprayed across the sand in a wide arc. Aptonidas collapsed face first. The crowd sat in stunned silence for 3 seconds before erupting in cheers. And Emperor Nero, watching from the imperial box, went absolutely nuts. Over the next few years, Nero showered Spiculus with gifts like a crazy person. We're talking about palaces, servants, wealth that would make senators jealous. Spiculus was technically still a slave, but he was living in luxury that most free Romans couldn't imagine. He was a slave who owned slaves. The Roman elite absolutely hated this. Gladiators were supposed to be the lowest of the low. They weren't supposed to live in mansions and hang out with the emperor. For years, this strange friendship worked perfectly. Nero would attend Spiculus's fights, cheering from the imperial box. Spiculus would visit the palace, dining with the emperor while senators seethed with jealousy. But here's the catch. In 68 AD, everything came crashing down. Nero's reign had become increasingly tyrannical and insane. He'd murdered his own mother, kicked his pregnant wife to death, and blamed Christians for burning half of Rome. The Senate finally had enough. A rebellion spread across the empire, and by June of 68 AD, Nero knew he was finished. The Praetonian Guard had turned against him. Nero decided he'd rather die on his own terms. But despite all his cruelty and madness, he was a coward. He couldn't bring himself to commit suicide. So he called the one person he thought he could trust to do it for him. Spiculus. But Spiculus never showed up. Whether he never got the message, was already in hiding, or desperately refused to kill his friend, we'll never know. Nero was forced to slit his own throat with the help of his secretary. His last words were, "What an artist dies in me." What a drama queen. Now, here's the kicker. When the news of Nero's death spread through Rome, the people exploded with rage. They started tearing down statues of Nero, ripping them up from their pedestals, and smashing them in the streets. And then, somebody remembered Nero's favorite gladiator. According to the historian Plutarch, the mob found Spiculus hiding in one of his palaces. They dragged him into the streets, literally dragged him, his expensive silk tunic tearing on the rough cobblestones. They wanted him to suffer for being Nero's friend, for living in luxury while Rome burned. Then someone spotted the broken pieces of Nero's statues lying in the street, massive chunks of marble and bronze, some weighing 200, 300 pounds. Someone had an idea. They grabbed Nero's marble head, a piece weighing at least 150 pounds, and swung it like a club. The first blow caught Spiculus in the ribs, with a crack so loud, witnesses 3 streets away reported hearing it. His ribs shattered, probably 4 or 5 on his left side, the broken ends puncturing his lung. He went down hard, wheezing as blood began filling his chest cavity. But the mob wasn't stopping. Nero's bronze arm, probably 200 pounds of solid metal, came down on Spiculus's back with a wet thud. His spine fractured at the L3 vertebra. His legs went limp, instantly paralyzed. He screamed. The crowd cheered louder. More blows rained down. A piece of Nero's marble torso came down on Spiculus's left leg. The femur snapped with a sound witnesses described as similar to breaking a thick tree branch. The jagged bone end punched through the skin, white against the red. Spiculus's face became the focus next. Nero's stone face came down again and again. The first blow broke his nose, cartilage crunching. The second shattered his jaw, teeth scattering across the cobblestones like dice. The third blow caved in the orbital bone around his left eye, the eyeball rupturing with the pressure. After the 4th or 5th blow to the head, Spiculus's skull fractured on the right side. The temporal bone gave way with a wet crack, and brain matter began seeping out. Gray tissue mixed with dark blood and fragments of white bone. Blood pooled beneath him, running in rivulets between the cobblestones. The sound of stone on flesh, wet thuds punctuated by cracking bone, continued for another 5 minutes, though Spiculus had probably lost consciousness within the first 2 minutes. In total, it took approximately 15 minutes from the first blow to his last breath. 15 minutes of being systematically pulverized by the statue statues of his dead friend, while a crowd of thousands watched and cheered. The greatest gladiator of Nero's reign died not with a sword in his hand in the arena where he'd made his name, but crushed beneath the literal weight of his former patron's legacy. The statues that made Nero immortal became the weapon that killed his only friend.